Alright guys, so today's video is going to be on why I think the BRZ is the best, or one of the best first cars to have. Oh great, now here comes the rain. See, what I tell you, Sunday I washed my car for the car meet, and then 2 days later, fucking rains again and shit. I want to say why I think the BRZ is one of the best first like manual or like sports cars to have for someone who is, you know, is a car enthusiast and is getting into cars, or, you know, wants something that's not too expensive but that's still fun to drive. And the reason why I say that is, I mean, there's a lot of other good cars out there to get for first manual cars to have, but I think the BRZ, at least from my experience of me, you know, owning this car for almost 3 years now, it's crazy to think it's been this long. Also, side note, coming up here on the left side, that Subaru WRX hatchback, that's been sitting there for like ever. I'm not sure if like they just like work at the Virgil school or something, even though that school's been like, no one goes there anymore. But every time I pass it on the way to work in the morning, that car's always sitting there. I'm not sure if it's like for sale or something, but like every time I always see that car there. But yes, back to what I was saying before. But yes, a couple reasons why I think the BRZ is the first car to have. One, they're not relatively too expensive. You can get like a 2013 BRZ. Maybe it has like a couple, maybe it has like just like over 100,000 kilometers, and you can get them for like, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really looked at like on Auto Trader or like even Kijiji of like prices of BRZs lately, but you could probably get one between like a 2013 one that has like a decent amount of miles on it. You could probably get between like, I want to say like 12 and 15 grand, I want to say. Also, another thing is they're easy to drive manual. Now, this is the first manual car I've driven, and this is the first manual car I've owned, obviously. And, you know, I never had any really experience driving manual before this. And I think I had explained it in one of my first videos I got with this car. The only other prior experience to test driving this car once was literally just watching YouTube videos online how to drive this car. Now, I know you can watch all the videos and like learn all these techniques, but without actually like sitting in the car and driving it, you think like, oh yeah, watching like the videos again. Because I remember like it was always like hard, like, you know, when to release the clutch and shit. But obviously, you know, like everyone who has a manual car, the more you drive manual, and even like rev matching, I got way better at it about like, you know, a couple months into owning this car. And it's just things you learn over time. But yeah, the shifting in this car, super precise. I'll downshift to third, and I'll go up a little bit, fourth, just like that. Super easy. Like the notches on this car, like I think that Subaru's transmissions are really good. Like they have always like the short, like that's why I don't get why a lot of people put short shifters in these cars, and maybe they just want the super short shifting throw. But I feel like in this car in general, like shifting like is not like it's a long sensation. Like it's just like easy in and out of gear. And even I drove Josh's WRX like one time in a parking lot, and even like that transmission, like the gearing basically almost feels like the same as my car. And actually I test drove a 2017 one like 2 years ago for one time at Subaru, and that gear shifter feels like almost the exact same, or it's like really almost identical to the BRZ basically. Another reason why I think these cars are really good is because there's a lot of mods to do for this car. Now, I know some people think that, like, you know, some cars, if they could come with a lot of power, then it's like, okay, well, if it's got the power, then all basically you really need is like the exterior type of mods or the interior mods. But this car, like stock, definitely needs an exhaust, definitely needs to be lowered, get some new aftermarket wheels, and then just kind of spice up the interior, because the interiors on these cars, even though they're nice and plain and simple, but they're almost too plain and stuff. Like I remember first getting in this car, I'm just like, it just feels like it needs more. That's why over time, you know, I got a lot of carbon fiber interior pieces, like my orange shift knob, carbon fiber e-brake handle, and then my orange shift boot and e-brake boot, and the orange climate control knobs, and the trimmer on the air vents to kind of spice up the interior, and also with the white lights, the white LED lights for at night and stuff, look way nicer and stuff. So anything to spice up the interior of these cars is really good. Also, another thing I really love about these cars is the handling. Now, I've talked about this before, but the handling on these cars is amazing. Like, when you're in the tight turns, you feel like you're really secure in this car. Like, there's not really that much major body roll. I mean, until you get, like, you know, maybe better upgraded suspension, and you get, let's say, fully adjustable coilovers, and then some, I guess, like end links and some sway bars too as well, to kind of reduce the body roll a little bit. But like going back and forth, like, it's just super, like, it's super precise. Like, these cars, I know obviously everyone always says these cars are really slow, and you know they should come stock with a turbo, but I think once you add an exhaust piece, when you add exhaust pieces, then you add a cold air intake, and then you maybe do like a flash tune for like your headers and stuff. Like, these cars have pretty good low end power. I'll go downshift to third. I know there's a car in front of me, but like these cars can pick up speed pretty quick. And I think my favorite thing is, like, you know, ripping it on the on ramp to go on the highway, I think is my favorite part. And plus, like just the rumble and the sound that you get from these cars, like, once you change it from stock, you'll never want to go back. Like, it's just, every time, fuck, this thing keeps falling down. I should have taken this off before the video, but whatever. But every time I've floored in this car, or, you know, I downshift going into a tunnel, always puts a smile on my face every time. It'll never get old. Ask any car enthusiast out there. You love hearing hearing your, like, aftermarket exhaust for, like, the first time, or even, like, the 100th or the 1,000th time. You'll love it every single time and shit. Another thing is, I like how there's a lot of, like, different variety of these cars. Now, a lot of people I know, they'll either turbo it, or they'll supercharge it, or, you know, they'll put a Rocket Bunny kit, or they'll put the Pandem kit. You know, and out of me owning this car, even before me owning this car, and seeing all a bunch of, like, the BRZ FRSs and 86s at different car meets and car events and car shows, I've seen, like, so much different variety, like, you know, different aftermarket wings on the cars, different types of wheels, stance. Like, I've seen some crazy stance on some cars, and I'm not the biggest stance guy. Like, I don't mind a little bit of stance in cars, but it's almost like it feels like it's too unrealistic, where it looks like the Back to the Future car. I mean, maybe that's a little excessive, but I mean, if people like that style and they want to ride to that, you know, all the power to them. But that's just not something I'm totally into. Also, another thing on this, gas mileage isn't too bad on this car. Like, I have 1/4 left on my tank right now, and I've put 350 kilometers on this tank. So I feel like by the time I get to empty, I'll probably be at like 420 kilometers, I want to say. And that's kind of like average for me. The most I've ever gotten on a tank was like 560, but that was because I was mainly just doing highway ripping. And the lowest I got on a tank, I think, was like maybe 270, 280. That was when I first had my exhaust, and I was just flooring it everywhere, and I was just downshifting like crazy and stuff, just to hear the exhaust and stuff, and I was just like burning through gas like no tomorrow. But so far, I think these cars, like, averagely on a fill up, when I'm at like empty, I mean, I never try to go too close to empty. Like, I know some people, like, will fill their gas tank at half. I never really do that. I mean, I usually try to get till I'm like just a little bit above empty, or I guess when the gas light comes on. But, you know, it's like after driving the car for a long time, it's like, you know, your car, and then you know it's not gonna run out of gas. Or like, oh, like if it's on empty, or like if the gas, fuck's sakes, if the gas light comes on, then people are like, oh, don't worry, I still got like 120 kilometers left on this tank for sure. But yeah, sometimes, not gonna lie, if I'm not close to a gas station and I see the gas light come on, sometimes it sketches me out a little bit, because like the thing is, you never know at the end of the day. But yeah, this car is just pretty simple and straightforward. Like, it's got GPS and everything, which I don't really use the GPS. Sometimes it's kind of like laggy and shit, and I've used it like maybe a total of like 5 times while owning this car, and most times I really just use Waze on my phone and stuff. But yeah, I think that's all much I pretty wanted to say about why I think the BRZ is a good first car. You know, at the end of the day, they're not relatively too expensive. They're easy to mod, and there's lots of car mods available for these cars. They're pretty easy to drive. The shifting and like learning manual car is pretty straightforward and super simple. It's got great handling. I know everyone who says like the audio could be increased, but like the thing is, I mean, I like music, listening to music in my car as much as the next guy, but I don't really feel like I need an aftermarket upgraded speaker, or like a sub in the back at all, or anything like that. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this quick little video, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Damn, I'm in the matrix. My mind is living on cloud nine, and this line is never